Good evening.
Evening. How are you?
A lot better than you are.
Yeah, it was your turn last week, eh? My turn this week. I surely can't have caught COVID for you last week on an internet show. That's really good.
Well, they say it's a virus.
Mm.
Need to find out if anyone else has caught COVID in the past week on the show. Then I may be to blame.
There could be a lot of money to be made here. That's good. How are you getting on this week? How's things? How's the family?
Yeah, going grand. Another week down.
Good. That's brilliant. Lovely to see so many folk joining us already, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely marvellous. Remember and hit the share button for us. We're out on various platforms on Facebook. We're also on YouTube if you want to stick us on the big telly. You could do that on YouTube there. And we're also live on Twitter as well. All these shows will be recorded, so you can also watch them back. So if you are having a bad reception, sometimes if you watch it back once it's actually uploaded onto the platform, it's far better. Yep. And the other thing is sometimes if you play about, if you watch it on your phone, sometimes it's better than watching it on the iPad because the phone's got a bigger brain. Would you believe that, Davey?
Depends on the iPad.
Well, I'm here and I'm kind of looking forward to the show tonight to get some lights, some tunes and things because I've been isolating since Friday. So I've got a wee while to go yet.
10 days.
We go. Yeah, you. But anyway, so I'm really looking forward to it. So please, folks, keep sharing that program about. I'm sure there's folk all over the place. And remember to fire these comments and let us know where you are. We love knowing where you are. I'm in Shetland. Davey's in Dundee. We've got guests coming on from Bathgate and Glasgow tonight. We've got Scott Leslie, amazing accordion player. Great band he's got as well. Scott's doing the first half and you're going to really enjoy it. And we've got Kenneth MacKenzie coming on in the second half. Kenneth's just brought out a new album as well. And we're going to be speaking about that. Kenneth plays pipes, moothies, whistles, all sorts of things. Kitchen sinks, possibly. So it's going to be a good night. So we're going to have, and there's my wife saying she hates COVID. No half. she's actually not been as well. She's not done worse than I have, I think. So there's Derry going in Bellshill, and Vi is in Sligo tonight. She's not in where she usually is. She's
Where's
usually.
Sligo?
I don't know, Ken. Is that no somewhere in Fife or something?
Potago.
Anyway, listen, here's a wee set of tunes for me just to get some feet tapping. It's two pipe marches by accordionists. The first one's by Leonard Brune called Stranded in Stornoway. And I don't know if you've ever been stranded in Stornoway, but when you get stranded in Stornoway, there's not just an awful lot to do apart from eat black pudding and things like that. But it's good black pudding, so it's all right. So it's not too bad. White pudding as well is good up there. So, Stranded in Stornoway by Leonard Brune, and the second one's by Alan Smith by Kirkville Bank, a wee tune called Peter. But enjoy. Have a wee Canadian band dance round the room. There you go.
Take your partners.
Yeah. There you go. Brune's tunes. Oh, did he make two of them? Must have made two of them. They're not like that. Saying two of them, we could be selling them somewhere. That was the first tune. The second tune was in this book here. It's called the Clyde Valley Collection. It's won by Alan Smith.
Where's that picture from?
It's the bottom of Lanark High Street. The kirk at the bottom of Lanark High Street where William Wallace did something he shouldn't have done or something. I'm not sure what he did, but everybody talks about it to this day, so it can't have been that nice a thing.
Is that a spelling mistake on the front?
Is that what?
Is that a spelling mistake on the front?
Can't be. Right, there we go. Listen, that was Your eyesight's not that good.
You got to check it. You know where you checking that, yeah?
Better than mine tonight. Mine's not working very well. Listen, I'm fairly looking forward to bringing our guests on tonight. It's going to be good fun. We had Roscoe on last week. Mind and get your Pit Lockery tunes written as well.
Yep.
If you fancy £500, send in a 4-part pipe tune to Pit Lockery Games. And he was even saying last week he'll put the grace notes and everything in it for you. So if you can't do that, if you just want to give him a melody, he'll do that. And it's £500 up for grabs. So I suppose that's better than a dose of COVID.
Don't know.
Yeah, it is.
10 is off.
Okay. Well, maybe.
10.
Anyway, right, listen. Bringing on our first guest. When I used to stay down in Scotland, where I was brought up in Biggar, this young man was down in the borders of Scotland. But he's telling me tonight he's lived in Bathgate for quite a number of years now. But he was originally a borders fellow. So let's bring him on. Without further ado, here's Mr. Scott Leslie.
Good evening.
Hi, Scott, how you doing?
How we doing?
Right.
I'll just correct you just ever so slightly. It was East Lothian. East Lothian where I was brought up.
Was it then? So where was it exactly you were brought up then?
Dunbar.
Dunbar, of course.
Sunny Dunny.
So Dunbar doesn't go into the borders. Absolutely right. I stand corrected.
It's close, but my mum and dad were Berwickshire, so close.
Yeah. Used to love going to Dunbar. We used to play the pipe band competition there every year. It used to be the first one of the year.
I remember that. It was May. It was May, I think it was.
Yeah.
First competition.
It was always a good chance to get the pipes out after a long winter and see if they felt like bits or no. You know, usually that kind of dried out way and things living in them and things. But I used to go down there and play quite a lot. And so brought up in Dunbar. Yeah. Dunbar's a lovely place to go. It'd be good being brought up there.
A lovely place. Yeah, it was quite good growing up. You know, the harbour, beaches, especially around about Belhaven. Great, some couple of really good golf courses as well. Ice
cream and fish and chips.
Oh, ice cream and fish and chips galore. Yeah, but I suppose like everybody that was brought up in Dunbar, I couldn't wait to get away. I wanted to go. I couldn't wait just to kind of grow up, get a job, and move out towards Edinburgh. I wanted to go into. Just wanted to stay in Edinburgh. It was just better nightlife.
Yeah.
Nowhere shut down at 10 o'clock.
Better football.
Exactly. Of course,
one side of the tune anyway.
Yeah, the west side's always been.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that one. That's fine. Cheers.
I've joined you as well now.
Look at that. See, we're all sorted. We're all sorted here. This is good. Just you have a Tartan Tunes one. Then if you bring out that Dundee United Cup, have Dundee United got cups? They've not got cups, have they?
1987.
Was that the last time?
Anyway, listen. Your dad, Scott, was a very famous accordion teacher in that whole area, John Leslie, and taught hundreds, probably, of pupils over the years, including yourself.
He did, yes. Well, there was
you and Galloway saying the best accordion teacher comes from Dunbar.
Yeah. It was the only accordion teacher in Dunbar, but we'll not go into that.
But anyway, but he taught yourself. So how was it learning for Dad?
Well, to be honest, first of all, there was no escape from learning the accordion. That was a certainty when your dad's a teacher. But when I was young and starting to learn the accordion, my dad worked. He worked for British Rail. He was a signalman in British Rail, so he worked shifts.
Okay.
So all the credit for my practicing has to go to my mum. She would make sure, she religiously made sure that I did my practice every day after school, half an hour, and then as it got close to like an exam or a competition, that's when my dad would swan in and take all the glory. And if you won something or performed well or passed your exam, he takes the credit, obviously.
But Mum was there chasing you with the ironing board to get on.
She was, yeah. Yeah, exactly. She did. And looking back, when I think about it now, it's like, no, thank God that she did. And keep me at it, you know. But you've got her to thank.
You've worked through many different kind of styles and things in your time of playing.
Yeah.
As you mentioned there, your solo playing and things, and I'm leading towards the first track here to let folks hear you playing. And this is a kind of recent band, fairly recent band, Brave. How long have you had Brave on the go now?
It started about 2017, 18.
Yeah, it's not that long ago, the Brave.
No, not at all.
And a kind of, how would you describe it? Upbeat, modern Scaley band, I would say.
I suppose it is, yeah. Kind of just a little bit different to the normal, traditional, Scottish dance band sound.
Yeah, we're going to hear a good bit of you doing both tonight, actually. We're going to let you folks see that you can do both. But I think, to be honest, when we talk about the kind of Scaley band and the newer thing, it has to evolve that way. I feel it does have to evolve that way. We have to make dance music entertaining for the audience.
Yeah.
And the people out there. And that's what you're doing. And that's what I try to do as much as I can now as well, to be honest. Because if we just sit down and play dead straight traditional all the time, there's maybe not just the market for it anymore that there used to be, kind of style thing.
No, maybe not. It's still, there's a market for both of them, but
yes, that's right. And if you can do both, you're in a good place.
What I noticed most of all was, so you're playing say in a Scaley venue in Edinburgh, and you're playing with a traditional 4-piece. So everybody's dancing, and people that aren't dancing at the bar, they're just socialising. There really isn't much movement other than maybe clapping their hands. But then you do something different that's a bit more kind of maybe rock, reggae, funk orientated. And I would, a few years ago, I'd never seen myself ever consider anything like the Brave. But it started off and it just grew arms and legs. But when the Brave play, and it's a different groove, a totally different groove to the whole sound of the band. And, instead of people just stand and chat, and they're actually, it's almost like they're dancing on the spot.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, so you see a different, it's like a different interpretation.
Yep, it's like becoming a concert band as well, really, isn't it? You become
I suppose
a concert
it is,
band.
Yeah, exactly. You've got there's more of an all-round performance required.
Right, we're going to have a listen to the Brave.
Okay, then.
And we're starting off with the Floors of Edinburgh. We can't do much better than that.
No, perfect.
Thank you.
Hey, there you go, sir. Brilliant. Loads of nice comments going on here saying how much folks are enjoying that.
No, I noticed that. It was good to see.
I think that highlights how, when sometimes folks say traditional music's old and boring, it doesn't have to be.
No,
the way you present it can just mean it happens.
To be fair, I think they said that you were old and boring, Peter.
Thanks, Davey. Thanks for that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Poor Davey likes to have a kick at me every so often.
I know you can't, Dave. You can't say that about a fellow Jambo. Matt, to me, a fellow Jambo to me anyway. So
Sunday morning.
Yes. What's that place you put? I remember
that's breaking up.
Do you remember the story about the commentator at a Dundee United European game against some Italian side, and he was getting very, very carried away and got all the Italian names of the players, and then at one point they said, "And tonight at Tanadici, the footballers."
Yep,
that's right.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Very, very good.
Anyway,
but tell me, you mentioned there earlier. Obviously, when you started off, you were playing quite a lot of solo stuff. Did you do? You mentioned grades, which is something I never got the opportunity to do because there was nobody that I worked with that done grades when I was getting taught. So, but your dad did have that set up.
My dad was heavily into, it was more of a classical background, and taking exams as part of the British College of Accordionists was high on my dad's agenda as a music teacher. And I think I got up to grade 5. You could I can't remember. You got up to grade 9, 8 or 9 was the highest. I got up to grade 5, but then I think before you sat grade 6, you had to take a theory. So you had the practical examinations and also the theory examinations. Practical examinations were fine because you were just playing scales and pieces of music and sight reading. But when it came to the theory side of things, it was a whole new ball game for me. And I couldn't get past the theory part of it. So I didn't progress any further than grade 5.
Yeah, I wonder. You sometimes quite often see that a wee bit with traditional musicians, don't you? They're very capable players, but ask them what they're actually playing, and they probably wouldn't be able to tell you in that terms.
Yeah, it's true.
They're probably playing something far more difficult than they understand what they're playing sometimes. A lot of the time.
Yeah, it could well be.
And it was because somebody had a thing on the other day about a fancy chord or something like that, and I was like, "What?" And there was this great 2 paragraphs breaking this chord down, and I was like, "Oh, for goodness sake!" I would just play it. I'm afraid, and if it sounded wrong, that was it.
That's right.
Just didn't do it again.
I don't think learning about all the different chords and diminished and augmented sevenths or whatever. I'm not quite sure what good it was ever really going to do me.
Yeah,
you say it, you play certain chords. It just works with certain arrangements or certain tunes. So I'm a bothered how the chords put together. Yeah, maybe if music was my, if I was teaching, maybe if I was wanting to become a teacher, maybe I would want to know these things. And I suppose growing up, I always thought I might follow my dad and teach, but I think I knew from an early age that teaching wasn't for me.
Yeah, it's not what everybody does, and I quite enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy it. But I'm working
you do,
on school,
exactly.
Which is slightly different again, because I'm working in school time and things like that. Not like you were saying, like your dad working and teaching and things. And then your dad had a band as well. So was that your first kind of introductions into the band life? Was it getting a tune with him? Or?
Yeah, he was. I always grew up knowing that. So obviously, apart from kind of working shifts and teaching, and having a family as well, he went out at the weekends and played gigs.
Yeah.
And he did that with quite a lot of his pupils. So a lot of his pupils would be part of the bands he went out with. Generally, I think almost every band he played with had some kind of the older pupils playing in the band with him.
It's a great way to learn, isn't it? It's just a brilliant way to do it. And then if you get a fiver at the end of the night, hallelujah. That's
Exactly. It's true.
it, you know.
I always remember being dragged along to kind of some Kayleys that would be happening. You know, and I was pretty young, and as it gets late in the night, you're obviously lying across some chairs trying to get to sleep. but that was just part and parcel of going out. You know, if they took us along to a dance he was playing at, but you know, watching two or three guys playing on a stage, and people dancing, and I just thought I have to do that as well.
My thing about going to these things as well was that when you were wee, I don't know, every hall and all that, they used to have a raffle, and they always used to have something in it that you really wanted to win, like a big, huge box of chocolates or something like that when you were a kid.
True. I remember
but you always won the pair of tights. There's always a pair of tights for some reason. I always seem to win the tights. I don't know why that happened, but
perfume or smelly bath salts or something.
Aye, that's right. Yeah. So that had been in the raffle the week before. That's
right.
The week after.
Yeah, that's right. Because people just kept bringing it back week after week. I don't want that. I'm going
get rid of that eventually.
Yeah, of course.
I won a teapot once, and when I went inside it was 2 dried out tea bags.
Brilliant.
Right, listen, we're going to have a wee track here for the Scott Leslie Scaley band as well, but more slightly traditional sound to it, I would say this time, just a wee slight. I think we start off with a couple of 2/4s, if I mind right. Is that right? So
I'll take you on for it. I can't remember.
Yeah. What's the best thing with these tracks is we have a wee listen and then we talk about them afterwards, and then that's
perfect. I'll know exactly what I played after.
Exactly. Here we go. Yeah, fantastic. It's great, isn't it? Great seeing that on the screen again. We got so, in a way, we've become blasé sitting looking out at that, and now all of a sudden, with the last 2 years, we've never seen it.
Yeah, no, it's true. Well, that last one, that's the Scaley Club at Summer Hall,
Right.
which they were Tuesday night. So every week on a Tuesday night, different band, run by Mark Neal.
Fantastic. Because I noticed Vi Todd on there putting, gosh, that's the kind of age groups we should be targeting. Vi does the Kayleys at Milner, thought there. And but there you go. So there is things like that going on. So that's quite encouraging.
They are. No, exactly. And there's the predominantly younger people, really, obviously, the age I am now, a lot younger than me. And it's good to see, and it's good to play to that age group, because they give off so much energy.
Yeah, they're buzzing.
Exactly, they are, and they they come along there because they want to learn and have fun. So that and the more they dance, it's like for any band and musician, the more the audience or the dancers get involved, the better it is for you, the band. You just love it, and just watching that.
Think I'll go and watch that about 4 times in a row just to sieve some energy off it for myself.
It was great, and it was just recorded just off an iPhone as well. The same with that the Brave one you watch as well. I did that just from photographs that I'd taken or other people had taken, and just made the video up, because it was something to do during lockdown. Just like I'll see if I can piece together. It wasn't an easy thing to kind of piece together, but it was good fun doing it. I had plenty of time to do it.
Yeah, an interesting thing as well. Great lineup you were working with there as well. Mr. Ian Anderson and the fiddle, great player.
Yeah, Ian's been playing. Ian's been part of the band, the Scaley band and the Brave, probably since about 2000 and off and on, but more so 2018. 19, he's been playing kind of mostly every gig. But with the Brave, you go back to even the lineups there. Unfortunately, it was Owen Muir, originally from Shetland, who's on piano. Well, unfortunately, Owen's had to, he's had to stand down from playing at gigs. So he's no longer playing. So obviously he was like an integral part of the Brave as well.
Yeah.
But he's not able to play anymore, just through kind of family reasons. Had a young family.
Well, there you go, folks. Anybody budding out there that wants to be part of the Brave, get a hold of Scott.
There you go. We're running auditions this Sunday on Facebook.
Yeah. Auditions.
That's it. You can audition about 3:30, Peter. Is that all right?
Aye, that's fine. And then it's interesting as well that you're on there for Shetland, and then Alan Irvine was on the drums. And there's a lot of folk that watch the show, and a lot of guests on the show are involved in the piping world and the pipe band world. And because Alan was with Bog Hall and Bathgate Pipe Band, he was
that's right, yeah,
with them for many, many years. I think, is he up about Oban way now, Alan?
No, he's still down here because he's working in Mulgai.
Oh, is he?
Just now. So although the family are based in Fort William.
Ah, yes, that was right.
They're in Fort William. So I don't know. I think he's certainly involved in the pipe band in Fort William. As far as I know,
one of the top drum corps in the system. Just absolutely.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy to have in the band as well. And as I say, he's a drummer, and he can. Although I can call dances, Alan can call the dances as well.
Yeah.
Really good caller. So he calls the dances, and I can just sit back and concentrate on the music, because as I get a bit older, I need to concentrate a little bit more on the music as I once did.
Rab Lennox, Rab's got his own show over the big Rab show in Ireland, and he's a drummer, and I'm sure he'll ken the pipe band scene, and I'm sure he'll ken Alan very well, because Alan's Irish.
I'm sure it will, yeah.
Anyway, let's have another wee Brave one here. We're going to, I think it's Brave in Glasgow or something.
Well, I think it was just this was the one that was recorded at the video. I think the one you're going to show was It's for elite bands. It's just an agency that the Brave work through. And this, I'm sure it was recorded at Drygate Brewery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's the one I'm thinking about. It's the shot of the ceiling as you go in.
Aye, yeah.
Is that the one? Yes. That's just
so.
just the roof. And as I say, I think it was just recorded. He just recorded it on a GoPro. That was the.
How lucky, How lucky to get to play at Kaylee's and breweries.
Oh God, I know. Nothing better.
Yeah. As long as it's how you're trying to drive.
No,
what was that, David?
A Kaylee and distillery is better.
A Kaylee and a distillery.
Oh, just drinking.
Anyway, here we go.
Just
Brave. The Brave.
Here we go.
Brilliant.
Hello.
That's absolutely magic. We videoed to show all the different styles that the band can play, kind of condensed into 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
Just kind of a promo video, but it's, if you've never really shot a promo video before, it's very difficult to try and not be rigid and not move, and actually move about. And I think we're quite prone to, and as a Scottish kind of traditional background, is just to sit there and not move, and you're playing. And you don't smile. You don't smile. You don't make any facial expressions.
That's right. Look very miserable. Very, very miserable. Look,
exactly.
You have to kind of look like you've just got your tax bill in, and it's double what you thought it was going to be.
It's true. You're right.
But no, it's great.
Hold on a second. Musicians earn enough to pay tax.
Well,
no, never. That's never happened.
But anyway, the folks going to say that just before we carry on with this wee interview, folks, thank you very much. It's huge numbers watching this show tonight.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. Really, really good numbers. Thank you for sharing, and keep sharing. And you're going to enjoy this whole show. It's fantastic. And I noticed Davey comments in from Russia and from Belgium. That was a couple of different ones coming in there from all over the world. Keep telling us where you are, folk. We love to see where you are. And I love to see Davey panicking with so many comments coming in a winner, because he's dealing with it just now. But I'll get his own back later when I have to do my bit.
So remember, on our next guest, loads of comments. Great.
Yeah, that's right. Just talking about that though, Scott, when we're talking Russia, Belgium, different countries, you've been fortunate enough, you've managed to get away playing in quite a few countries, haven't you, abroad? Yeah,
just, I suppose mainly just Italy. Italy on 3 occasions, and but the furthest and a place I thought I would never get the opportunity to play in the Middle East, in Oman. And I've been to Oman 3 times now. It's brilliant. It's such a great place, and the majority of the time, absolutely roasting, just so hot. I think the highest heat when I was there, and I'm sure that was around about May. It was about 40 degrees Celsius, which is pretty. And I think, and I know that in the height of summertime, around about July, it can hit 55. 56, which is quite.
I think if we got that temperature in Shetland would dry out and just sink. That would be the end of it.
That might happen all over. That would happen all over Scotland, I think. But
for all our viewers all over the world, because we've got everybody from Australia to wherever here, tell the folks, what were you doing in Oman though? Why were you there?
For Caledonian Society of Oman. Right. Just for Ceilidhs, they would do kind of pop up Ceilidhs round about April, May, and then September, October time. But the last occasion was just before lockdown, November 2019, and that was for their St Andrew's Night celebration. So I'd generally just been myself. They'd been out there, so it's it's a long travel when you're just on your own.
Yeah, that's right.
Luckily, I get on okay with myself, so it was fine. But
it's also a long travel. If you get there and your accordion's in 300 pieces, it's an even longer travel.
Well, that was the beauty. I decided if I was going to go to Oman, then I needed to get a smaller box. So I did just a 72 bay. So and then you can just take that, and it goes. And because of the planes are so huge, going across here, you can put it in the overhead, and it fits fine. So and then me all the time.
Like you with the Brave as well, you can use the lighter box because you're standing and things like that as well, aren't you? So,
I tried it first with the full 120 base, but there's standing for 40 minutes, 45 minutes was about enough. I just couldn't cope with it.
And then it's not the same when you have to spend your fee at the chiropractors the next day.
It's true.
It's really not worth it,
No, definitely not.
Here's another wee track with you guys in Ceilidh mode. Let's hear it, and then we'll play it. And just as I say, folks, keep the comments coming in. We love hearing all your comments. We love seeing where you are. Fantastic. Great stuff.
Brilliant.
That was the Edinburgh Cheesebait Club there again. Absolutely brilliant. Great stuff going on. Tell me, albums and that, Scott, have you got CDs out?
Yeah, just the one CD, Peter, the Shetland Connection, came out in 2018. I think it was.
Yes, it's not that long ago. It's not that
long
ago.
It was only about 30 years in the making, but got there.
Yeah. You got there. You got there in the end.
You know what they say? Good things come to those who take their time.
Well, possibly, yeah.
So what's that got on it then, Scott? Is that a kind of mixture of the Cheesebait dances, etc. on it then?
Yeah, it's just got a mixture of just pretty much all the Cheesebait dances that we play at venues like the Cheesebait Club and any other kind of Cheesebai's weddings and that we're playing at. So it's got about everything in there. Probably, and a dance that the Swedish Masquerade as well, which is a really good dance to do, and it's one that we only ever really do at the Edinburgh Cheesebait Club.
Right. That used to be a popular one 30 years ago. It was quite popular.
Yeah, exactly. But it's
if folk don't call it though, folk forget it. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's right. You need to. It's not an easy one to call. And it's unlike other dances where you can, because the tempo and the rhythm's always the same, you can call over that. I'm lucky enough that I can call and play at the same time. But with the Swedish Masquerade, because each part is so short and the tempos change, it's more difficult to call and play.
You've got to be on you've got in one box.
So you've got to spend a bit more time with the dancers beforehand, making sure that they're a-okay with, and you end up then just shouting slow march, a waltz, polka, and then back to slow march again. So
that's right. So folks, that's something really, really important. If you're looking for a band out there, when you're seeing these videos and seeing everybody dancing like they are, one of the reasons these guys are dancing and there's such a good atmosphere going is because, like Scott and the band do call the dances, and that's an absolute art on its own, to be honest, and keeping the whole thing going. Vi says she still does the Swedish Masquerade at Milner Thought. That's because Milner Thought's 30 years behind everywhere else. That's fine. But and if you're interested in Scott's CD, folks, jump on. There's the address. Remember, you don't have to scribble and write things down just now. This is all pre-recorded, so you can see it on YouTube, Twitter, or our Facebook pages. You can watch it all back. But if you're interested in grabbing a CD, give Scott a shout. I'm sure he'll get one in the post to you.
Absolutely.
And if you're looking for a band that calls, dances, and makes an atmosphere like that happen, these are the guys to get a hold of. So if you're looking for Cheesebait, do you do weddings, everything? You'll do the works, do you?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Anything, and pretty much every gig you do, every Cheesebait you do requires some form of calling.
I think so.
But it's not, whether it's me that's calling or it's Alan Irvine that's calling, or even Ian Anderson, fiddle, calls dances as well. He's another brilliant caller. Then
you don't have to pay them more, do you, if they call?
Well, no, they've never asked for any more money. So far it's worked okay. But maybe I'll get a bill in 20 years' time going, this is
here's Vi Todd's retaliating. She says Milner Port's 30 years in front. Oh, well.
We'll go.
Listen, Scott, it's been absolutely fantastic having you on and catching up with you tonight again. The music's been great. The crack's been great. The numbers have been fantastic. Folk have been enjoying this.
I've really enjoyed it.
We've got one more track of the Brave that we're going to finish off with, but we'll say cheerio, and then we'll play that for you. And thanks very much for coming on. And I hopefully see you in Shetland next year. I forgot to say earlier on, Scott comes up to Shetland every year for Uphelly. Not necessarily as a player musician. He's part of a squad up here now. He's been coming so long. He's ingrained in the woodwork.
I'm in there, and I've missed that as well. I've missed that so much.
Yeah, I usually meet him about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with my band when he comes round.
I'm not sure I can remember meeting you, Peter. That's
last year you really surprised me when you spoke Japanese. I didn't realise you could speak Japanese either.
I forgot about that.
Especially when the year before it was Gaelic, you know. It was
That's
just
right.
amazing.
I know.
But anyway,
Yeah,
listen, Scott, thanks very much for coming on. You take care, and
thanks for
see
having
you
me on,
sometime.
guys.
Cheers, man.
Thank you very much.
All the best, Scott.
Yeah.
Oops. Say that again, Scott.
Hope you both get well and truly over the COVID soon, and you're feeling back 100%.
We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there. I've got it to look forward to.
I'll obviously have it next week because I've been on the programme now.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
it.
And if you do,
Nothing to do
don't
with
blame
us.
us.
No,
There's a disclaimer. There's a disclaimer somewhere.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Best of luck with the
See you,
show,
man.
guys.
All the best, man.
See you after. You're going to play this track?
Yeah, sorry.
Good stuff.
That's something different.
Yeah, that's great.
Different.
Really good. Really nice sound. Fantastic. Great having Scott on the Magic. That was really good. And so many nice comments coming in for everybody.
Where's that?
There we go. You have to tell me where you got to because I've got COVID.
Oh, is that your excuse now? You got COVID? Oh, I've got COVID.
Did you get Carol Elliott?
Give me 2 seconds. I got down to William Bacham.
Thank you. I'm off. Right, I'm away.
You're off. Right, give me 2 seconds.
David. Jamie Starr enjoyed that.
Yep,
good.
I enjoyed that, and that's the main thing. Anyway, we have a rare chance right now. We have a guest who has been watching the show every week and commenting and joining in, which is always good to see.
Yeah, it's nice.
Not only that, he released an album on Friday, so that involved us getting really good timing to get him on here for straight after the album launch. And
hey, that means Kenny launched the day I got COVID.
Kenny gave you COVID?
No, Kenny didn't give me COVID, but he launched his album. I'll never forget Kenny launching this album.
There's a tune for you though. Kenny gave me COVID.
But we've had a wee shot of the album for a week in advance. Actually, I've listened to it a lot, and it's brilliant. It's really good.
It's how to word it? Not what you expect here now.
No,
it's
I agree.
not overproduced. It's that perfect.
Incredibly
solo,
fresh
yes.
sound. Yeah, really nice
And
sound. Yeah.
And if you've not heard it, we're going to be lucky enough to have some of the tracks. So without further ado, let us welcome Kenneth MacKenzie.
Good evening,
Kenny.
chat. Hello there. Hello, Peter, David.
How's it going?
You all right?
I'm fine. I'm sorry to hear about your own troubles, and I must apologise for launching the album. If that caused you clothes.
No, I'm awful glad you did launch the album, because as we were just saying there, this is an absolute richness of sounds in this album. It's very, very nice. It's not overdone. It's just perfect, I would say.
Thank you.
Cooked to perfection. So it's very, very nice.
If you can find me a better album right now, then you'll be lucky. Anyway, so Kenny,
there's a lot out just now. A lot of really nice stuff just now too.
Tell us a bit about yourself and your your upbringing and things like that.
Aye, well, the main background, probably like us all, we've all got the pipes in common. That was my first instrument when I was 11. Took up the pipes at Knightswood Juvenile, which you'll probably know the name. Yeah. Glasgow.
I remember that band. I remember them very well, being on the go.
Yeah, they were an institution, you know. So I went over there. I lived not far.
I remember Knightswood Juveniles very well. A huge band at one point in time.
Ah, right. Something's happened.
Are you there now?
No, I've lost the... sorry, that came back.
Oh,
yes, Knightswood had an awful lot of good players come out of there, and you know.
Yeah, it was a big band, very, very big band.
Yeah, I'm sure. So that's where I started, and I was there till I was 18, playing at great times, but always along with the piping was Moothy. Always had a Moothy at Christmas from my dad. He was a good Moothy player, and there was a Moothy in the Christmas stocking every year. And then about Boxing Day, I would get fed up with it, and I would hear great Gaelic waltzes coming from the kitchen, and here's my dad sitting there giving it. So I think the trick was it was for him, you know. So
were your parents from West Coast then, when you mentioned Gaelic waltzes?
Brought up in Glasgow, but my dad's family all came from. My grandfather's from Ardnamurchan, and my grandmother's from Isla at Port Charlotte. So we had that side of the family had a lot of Highland influences and Gaelic speakers, you know. So, so that was really where it all started, and then I moved on. Well, because of the juvenile band, as you know, chap, you move on after 18, and I went on to play with. It was Babcock Renfrew, which.
Yeah.
Just changed their sponsorship from BCAL Airways. You'll remember that, Peter, quite well. And it was the first year Ian McLeod. Well, I think it was Ian McLeod's second year. Edinburgh Police took it over. So myself and my pal Davy Witherspoon came up from Knightswood, and we auditioned with Ian, and it was quite a nerve-wracking experience, but we both managed to get in. Well, Davy got in, no bother, but I was.
Who was the sponsor at that point?
Babcock and Wilcock from Renfrew. So we were there for a good few years, fantastic days, and learned so much from Ian McLeod, who was just absolutely phenomenal guy and a great character. Yeah. And then we joined Hugh McInnes. We went over to Toyota and we were with Hughie for a few years.
All right.
And then went back to Renfrew, I think. Yeah, and it was Jim Henderson from Dunoon that we played under. Jim was terrific as well, you know.
Excellent girls.
Yes, and still going strong.
Yes.
So that's just kind of keeping kind of background, and then I joined the City of Glasgow with Davy Witherspoon, who's my pal, and Davy had that band for 10 years, and we played right up, you know, till about. So I gave that up about over 20 years now, the pipe band scene, and continued with the folky stuff, you know.
I remember Babcock were sponsored by Black Bottle at one point in time as well, wasn't
that was after, yes. Black Bottle took the band again. And
so is that the same? So Black Bottle became David Up at Travel, didn't they?
Yeah. And Ali Fletcher was involved, and he was pipe major there as well, and it was really good bands, you know. But it had originally been the Renfrew, and then had different names. So yes, that was the piping side of things.
So let's hear a track from the album. We've got the title track, Glendarin, and it is. Give me 2 seconds.
Did you say that right there? Because I said it wrong before.
Glendarin.
Glendrayan.
I wrote it down wrong. Damn it. Glendrayan. Yeah, sorry.
It's a depopulated village in Ardnamurchan, so it's
and it's depopulated because it's I and it's A are the wrong way around.
It's true that I.
Something like that. Aye, Peter. Yeah.
So, do you want to tell us a bit about this track?
Yeah, well, basically, it's not far from the village of Sana, where we have a family home, and it's a deserted village. I think the last inhabitants were, I think maybe the late 50s, 60s, I think. But it really is one of these places that used to go over as a wee boy, and it's quite an eerie atmosphere, you know. And the tune really is a lament, and it was written when I was up in Sana one night, one July, pouring wet, wild night in July, you know. And I just sat in the kitchen, as I often do, and trying with the chant and come up with some tunes. And I came up with this one, and it was really sort of reflecting on the hardship and I mean, it must have been quite a hard life for the people that lived there, you know, and lived off the land, and just what good land they had, you know, because they'd all been chased down from the clearances to this particular area. So it's quite a mournful tune, but I hope
that's Bonnie though, lovely. It's really nice.
Lovely tune, yeah, stunning. So let's have a wee listen.
Very nice, Kenny.
Thank you.
Lots of comments coming in here with the idea I'm sure you had behind this, catching that feelings of solitude and beauty, etc.
Yep. Well, thank you. That's nice.
So, a lot of the tracks are composed by yourself.
Yep. I think there's 6 on the album that aren't my own.
Yeah, great stuff.
So the bulk of them, they've been over the last 2 or 3 years. There's some that have been older than that, but it was a chance. Again, a lot of us over lockdown, you start to think about putting something together, and I got in touch with Will Marshall, who I know you've had on the show.
Yep.
And you know very well. And Will and I kind of met over that period of time and approached him about helping me out with the arrangements, because I had the easy part. I just wrote the tunes, But Will came in with this fresh feel. We had a couple of hours briefing meeting, and he just nailed exactly what I was after. And he did some demo ideas. And to be honest, there's not a lot changing what we'll come up with.
He is he's got a very creative way about him. He's working, and he seems to get here in his head what he's wanting the end result to be, and just go for it.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
This is it, and there's a few of the tracks that all the tunes are right. I don't write tunes to kind of order, or somebody could. I really put my feeling in. I try to get under the skin of the person or the place or something, to really do a bit of research and try and get that across. When I explained a few of the background to a few of the tunes, Will just got it, and the likes of that one, for instance. I mean, he's backing in that is just phenomenal.
The backing in that's incredibly subtle, because it didn't need too much. If there was too much there, that melody had it, and the melody was strong, and just needed help along the way. And if you went over the top with it, you've killed it. It's just
absolutely, Peter, and that was my fear. And you're right. Will just like yourself there, just understood it.
So apart from the piping, you've got a different background to what people would expect from a musician. From a musician. So your actual working background.
Hold on, David. I've disappeared again. Right. Okay, sorry, I don't know what keeps happening. I think my mouse is in the way there. Sorry. Did you just say that again?
Yeah, you've got a different working background to what people expect from a musician.
Ah, right, in terms of career.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've never been a full-time musician. This has always been a hobby. Always. I've been involved in architecture and media for all my working career, but this has always been running alongside. And time goes on. I'm getting a wee bit more time now, and I'm hopefully going to start playing out and about. I mean, I was in wee folk bands for 20 odd years as well, that kind of thing. Whistle, mouthy, singing, do a bit of songwriting. One of the ones that became quite popular was the Oor Willie song. I don't know whether you've ever come across it. It was Oor Willie's Oldest Wee Boy, and it was taken up by Stuart Wood of the Bay City Rollers, and he reproduced the song. So it became popular. A good indie song. You sure she's aware of it. So that kind of fun songs and others that are more serious as well. So I like that running along the side as well.
I love this program when we get all these different wee connections. There's yourself here, who had Will Marshall playing and helping produce your album, and then Tony Rees in South Africa has just said hello. And Tony's a piper out there in South Africa, and he met Will when Will was out with a cruise liner, and they had a couple of nights together. So it's funny how it all joins together.
Amazing.
Well, I'm sure Will will be watching if his wee fella's not still up.
Yeah.
But just on the album, Will was fantastic because he suggested some other musicians, and of course got Marie Fielding's on there. As you've had Marie on as a guest. I've met Marie a few times over the years, but this was just a lovely coincidence, and she has added so much drive to the tunes. Especially I think it was the reels and
she's just a lovely player.
Oh, she's fantastic. We've got Tom Oakes on there. Tom being a fantastic flautist, rhythm guitar again.
Absolutely, yeah. Brilliant.
Rory Gill in the drums, you know. Rory
yes, that's right, young Rory. Where are we going? A set of jigs? I would set of jigs.
We're going to play the set of jigs now.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Can you remember what the tunes are?
Right, just let me remind myself here.
All right.
Yeah, well, the first one's Kenny Scaley, and it was composed by David Witherspoon. It was really written for me because he said everywhere Kenny MacKenzie goes, it turns into Cayley. You know, I don't know what he meant by that. Karen's Jig was written for a relation, Karen McKenzie. No Signal at Sana is a composition by a great friend of mine, Craig Turnbull, and he's also a fantastic composer. Craig put together a collection called Second City Culture, and there's loads of great tunes in there. The next one is the Santa Barbara by myself, and the last one is by a hero of mine, the great Norman MacLean. And this is a handwritten music from Norman himself. Scarce of Tatties.
Yeah, that's it.
Brilliant tune.
So there you go. And Will's put a wee kind of contemporary style to this. It's good.
Aye, you'll enjoy this, folks. We set of jigs.
Will's good.
And of course, there at the end was the lesser spotted potato.
That was coming out in mid-yell Vaux, wasn't it? We were coming out the Vaux and all the thingies, all the birds were sitting on the end.
I noticed
they knew something.
There's Will come with. There's Will's up. Will's had joined us. That's magic.
Oh, yes, I've just noticed that. Hi, Will. Thanks again, Will.
There we go. Lots of folk enjoying this now. That's good.
As folk can tell, it's a very much a mix of tunes on the album, which is really good. I think the style of writing is what.
Can I just ask David? Can you ask folk to keep sharing about? Can I hit the share button for us, folks? That would be fantastic. Share, and I'm sure you'll be getting to tell us where we're going to be able to buy this album in a wee while.
Yes, we'll get to that second. So it's very much a mix of the kind of the writing style, so you can tell your tunes over somebody else's, but they do mix well together on the album. And kind of did you choose the set order, or is that one with Will you've worked with that, or did you kind of say these are what I'm thinking?
Yeah, it's quite tricky. I went for a more sort of kind of traditional pipe band type thing where a set of jigs, rather than I often feel so really. I kind of set out the order, but Will made a couple of good suggestions here and there. Mostly to do with key changes of things like that. What run better. On a whole, it was really the kind of order that I wanted them played. Quite tricky, just with the different keys and stuff. I'm not.
It can be. Especially with the pipes. The pipes are very restricted to what we can or cannot do. Which is just one of these things. As Peter mentioned, the album is now out and available to order. From cabaretmusic.co.uk, and that came out on Friday, or as Peter calls it, COVID Day.
Well, there's definitely a tune going to be written, people.
I'll tell you what. It's more pleasurable listening to your album than it is having COVID. That's definitely.
What a shame. But yeah, it came out on Friday and it's had an awful lot of good response. Enjoyed recording the album. It was done, engineered by Gary Boyle out at, again, Will just helped me with all that stuff out at Slate Room. And in Caitland, wonderful guy and great ear himself, creative, so. So it's getting, a lot of good reviews as well. Ennis Campbell have taken on the PR side of it, and that's been a great thing. They've really put it out there. Well worth. I would recommend them any day for that sort of stuff. They've got great connection.
Because we're in this strange point in time just now, aren't we, about bringing a CD out or digital download? We're in that strange.
And on the back of that, you've decided to push the physical CD as your primary kind of output.
I think so at the moment. It just depends on what your idea is longer term. Eventually, yes, to get it out there. But at the moment, I would just like to have the physical item.
Well, that's it. Because of your background in kind of the media as well, you're wanting to create a story and something people can physically look through the booklet, they can look at the imagery and the text. And you can't do that with digital, and that's what's going to be missing in the years to come. And as Mark Saul said last week, it's going whatever way you have to go to keep up with the kind of the market. But both kind of and with pipe music and traditional music, the CD is always going to be kind of the main kind of stable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. How long it'll last, I don't know. But at the moment,
I also think our kind of music, traditional music and that kind of genre, etc., like other genres, is still quite well behind, say, the charts or the popular music of the day. It's really, really shifting. But our audiences, whether it be age groups or whatever, are still not quite going to the computer first, I don't think.
Yeah,
that's a fair point, Peter. Yes, yeah. So,
but to be fair, Peter, modern music are going back to LPs. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, exactly. it might start happening. We might have to start carrying suitcase loads of LPs about again. I can't wait.
There seems to be a retro thing going on with some musicians and bringing back the cassette. Fine.
So with the album, Kenneth, what's your plan on the back of the album? Is your plan to kind of put a band together and look at touring it when where it allows?
Well, I've always played live gigs round about, you know, and part of small bands and things like that, or just as a duo, you know, with a guitarist and a fiddler or something like that. So my plan is, you know, as time goes on, to try and put together something and go out, and try and get it played. And even around the folk clubs initially, I'm not, as I say, it's not my main, you know, occupation at the moment, but I just love it. You know, it's just a wee bit more time to do. So hopefully do something on the gigging side of things.
Well, exactly.
See, the next track you're going to play is one that I particularly liked. Really, really nice tune. And it's just got such a nice arrangement in it, this one. And it's the Moira Mckenzie's Welcome to Caberfeid.
Oh, yes.
And
well, better get it right. My wife, so...
This one really caught my ear, this one.
Good. Well, that was written for Mary when she came up. We'd always been coming up on holiday to the house in Sana, Northern American, but when we get married, the first time came back, that was a tune I wrote for her, and the house is called Caberfeid, so that's where the name came from. My father's house was Caberfeid, so
this is a lovely tune.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's very, very powerful. Very powerful.
I do love a key change.
Yeah, I think Will's got the Inverkeithing Philharmonic Orchestra behind that.
Yeah, not bad at all. In full flow.
No,
all 5 of them.
It's amazing what you can do with a box.
Well, that's it. I'm a man whose talents are never ending.
Yeah.
There's a request there from who was it?
Alan Monroe.
Alan Monroe. And he's asking if we're going to hear a Muthi harmonica tune. I think we have got one lined up, but I just don't know which one it is. Which one is
Set of
it?
reels.
Set of
There's a
reels.
set of reels and the finisher's a Muthi one as well.
Sunset and the reels,
Yeah,
Sunset
we've
reels,
got
that's
reels and a slow air. It's all coming. Don't worry. Stay tuned, people.
Stay tuned.
The telly's
What was I
garbage, so just keep watching this and sharing.
On you go, Peter. Sure, you got a question.
Sorry, I was saying about the telly being terrible and the just everybody's feeling trying to hold on. Go for it, Davey. There's comments galore coming here. I'm struggling to do 2 things at once tonight.
So, putting your hand to do something.
Oh, there's Scott. That's Scott that was on earlier saying he really loved that.
There we go.
Oh, thank you.
That's
I
good.
love your playing as well. Brilliant tunes.
So apart from obviously this, is there a second album in the works already? Is there? Have you already started looking at the tune choices for that?
Not for the next 20 years. I did.
You're not going to. You do realise you're not going to get away with that. You're not going to get away with leaving it 20 years.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see how we go on with this one first. I think nothing in the moment. I think that my efforts are being a rest now. But no, I just thoroughly enjoyed the whole process. I really have. It's been great.
So when did you start working on the album? When was that? That was just before lockdown?
2 years ago. Yeah.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Sketching out ideas in my head over the last 2 or 3 years. 3 or 4 or 5 years, but it was really a lockdown. And we were all the same as you guys started this wonderful initiative up. I was rooting for you at the Trads Awards.
I know. As we said, we're not Gaelic enough for them. But
come on, how?
Hey, listen, this time next year.
Yeah, we'll be fluent, boy. Dryden Lop's going to get us tutored up, don't worry.
Oh, she's the one for that, eh?
Yeah,
exactly. So with the kind of the lockdown, when did you start? When did you actually start recording? Did you manage after?
It was the sort of second week, we the first year planning it and Will doing some arrangements, and that lasted about 6 to 8 months. And then the first time we knew we were allowed to do anything, September, August, I think. It might have been August, July, August time. Getting in a couple of days here and there, Great, thoroughly enjoyed it. Fantastic, And Gary Boyle was just wonderful.
Gary is good.
Is recording much of a thing you'd done before? Had you had a chance to do that in pipelines and things?
Yeah, over the years when I was a lad, I used to be in a folk band, and we did 3 cassettes, singing and playing. The guys played fiddle, guitars, that kind of stuff. So, and with the Toyota band, we made an album, great album called Amazing Grace.
I remember that album.
Mount Fuji was the Japanese track that Hugh McKenzie played, and wonderful. It's still available. You get it on YouTube.
Was there a reason behind that? Did you go to Japan to play or something?
Well, it was the band got a sponsorship from Toyota Car Company.
From Toyota, yeah.
So it was a great a wonderful sponsorship. We never got out to Japan, no. But I think they either commissioned a tune called Mount Fuji, and that was on the album, and it's a stunning tune. Beautiful. Huey played it, beautiful player.
So when you were at school, you were piping, but were you interested in them? You said earlier you were interested in the Muthi and then whistles and things. Did that just come along? But when you were at school, were you experimenting with kind of folk bands then or anything like that?
Yes, very. I mean, the first, when I was about 7, I went to see the Corries. That was the first stage. And then the next band I saw about 16 was, went out, what the heck was it? Tannehill Weavers and Dunny.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Well, that was it. And then we came straight back from that holiday up to the bedroom, whistle, got my 2 pals, and that was the first time I'd ever heard that combination,
Yeah.
Of course, I'm the same sort of vintage as Fred. I've known Fred Morrison since a young lad as well, and I always watched Fred, and he was the only one in the piping scene that did anything like that. And especially the pipe bands, they were more interested in the competition aspect, and that kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. I always wanted, it was the music for me, but a pipe band environment was very, who are we going to beat today? And, all that stuff. I could never get my head around that. And I used to look at Fred and say, you've got the right idea here. He was away out on his own doing this wonderful music. And that
but when you look at the Tannahill Weavers, the Tannahill Weavers influenced so many people.
Without a doubt.
Bringing the big pipes into the setup and things. And in fact, they were on the telly a couple of nights ago or last night when I just happened to flick on about midnight, and here they were. And they still sound the same. They sound the same. Their sound has not changed.
No.
Did I mention that I'm on a Tanny's album?
No.
Yeah, I think you told me this once. What one are you on?
The latest one.
Really?
I'm on the what's it called? Mick McDonald's Ghost.
What are you doing on the album?
Pipes.
Oh, good man.
Mick McDonald's Ghost, just to change the subject. Yeah, so when Lauren McDougall was playing in the band and recording with them, they did the album with Dahirua from Belgium, Ireland.
Right.
And it's one of his songs. He wrote the song, and they were doing a kind of covers album. So it's folk covering his songs for the double this album. So the Tannies did this one, and due to the time restraints, Lauren couldn't get from Caradale to Tayport. And obviously, I've played with the Tannies when Colin Melville was playing with them. I played with Glenfarg, and I've known Phil for years. So he says, "Look, can you come in the studio and put the pipes down?" So I spent a day in the studio with them, and I made the final cut. So yeah,
there you go.
That's
a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one for the TV.
You just mentioning Lauren there. When I wrote Glendrine, the tune, it was a kind of odd tempo, and Lauren's been a great help to me. I'm not very good at writing out notation. I'm just not into it, and he's just fantastic. And he says, "Kenny, I'll need to start some. Give us a beat here. I don't know." So I recorded it. One of us could get the what was it, but he nailed it as well. So thanks for that.
Lauren's really good at that. Yeah.
The next Slow Air would well, I think it's a sort of fair to say. This is great. Lexi, a Hugh, you told me. Chook.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this earlier on, and I said, "What's a chook?" I was waiting on some amazing thing. Well, a chook, if it was in Shetland, it'd be a hen. It would be Lexi's hen. I think that would be about it. But
a chookie.
But tell us, what was it again behind the name?
This tune was written for my mother-in-law, Lexi McNiven, who comes from the island of Bernera in North Uist, and we holiday there a lot. And again, it just the influenced by the whole landscape of the place. It's a stunning island, and she was born and brought up there. So I wrote this for her for a big birthday. I'll not mention what one it was, and it's played in the low D whistle, which I love as well.
And the chook came from her father being a cook, didn't it?
Yes, just that's of tradition of calling you after what your father or your somebody, So she's she's Lexi of the cook. Her father Norman being a cook in the Navy. So that's how they reckon a lot of people called Lexi. So they
as I said to you earlier on, I would always have hated to be the child that their father cleaned toilets. I wonder what they would have been called.
Peter of the Cludgy.
Peter the Cludgy.
Peter the Cludgy.
That sounds
Peter
quite good.
Not to be confused.
These ideas for tunes tonight are coming out brilliant.
No, you're writing them all down.
Peter, who is the minister's son, that's Peter the Clergy.
That's too sharp. Here's Lexi. Lovely. Really nice again. Very nice orchestration going on there.
Oh,
yeah, very simple melody, but very
very straightforward tune. There's nothing, in it. But as Will said, the simple tunes are sometimes, something nice to work to. He made a great job.
Yes, that's it.
Fantastic. Now, Alan Monroe was asking earlier on about the mouth organ. Now, what? I'm going to have to. Somebody was asking me if that was the island, the scenery. We're going to have to come clean here. No,
you had
yes, it's an island. Yes, it's a beautiful island. That's right. It's an island.
In the north.
In the north. West.
Very north.
Yeah, it's no other.
East.
Right.
Oh, the Muthi, yes.
Muthi.
Yeah, so obviously you were giving your Muthi for Christmas, but when did you actually start making an effort with it?
Yeah, probably kind of late teens, 20s. I started getting really quite enjoying playing pipe tunes actually, and the different styles of Muthis, and but my big thing was I just love Gaelic tunes, Gaelic airs, Gaelic song, all that stuff, And then as years went on, I got to know Donny Black, who's one of the Muthi maestro himself. So Donald's a good friend of mine, and over the last 20 odd years, and I started to watch him, and I thought, this is it, because there's not that many Muthi players and doing that kind of stuff thinking about, Great players like Fraser Spears and all the blues stuff, but Donald just played from the heart, and he really has influenced me hugely. And appears on this album. He's in one of the tracks, which we're not going to feature today, I don't think. But the track I wrote.
No, but we're not going to play them the whole album. They've got to go out and buy it now and hear the rest of it. Come on.
We could go into the night shift, but Donny features on Alistair Gillis MBE, which I wrote for the Alistair, a friend of mine who's a famous Gaelic singer. So Alistair sings on it. He does a few bits of it at the beginning, and then Donald plays the tremolo with it. Along with a digital chanter on that track, but I think the one you've Sunset and Reels, is it there, Peter?
Sunset.
Aye, Granny Beg's Pancakes.
Yes, that was the first one again, written from a mother-in-law who makes the best pancakes in Uist. That tune was actually recorded by Jack Lee. Jack put it on his pipe on the pit. I couldn't believe it, and he's got it on his website as a download to buy. You want. And it's really, really good to hear Jack playing that. And then Rona McKillop's Reels, a friend. The Road to Cheesebait is a village in North Uist, and that was written from my brother-in-law who lives in Bernard, Ian McKillop. So that was a bumpy car journey down a single track road for about 10 miles. Heather Mullet is my wee grandniece. I wrote that one for her. What else have we got in there? Katie Jane Milne's Graduation was written for my own niece. Welcome Rosie Morton, who's
can I just say something to you about that? Is that related to Tom Morton?
Yes, Tom's granddaughter.
Because Tom had a post on today.
He's frozen.
I hope so.
I lost you there. Sorry, I lost you there a minute. I'm back. Tom said to me, get him to play Welcome Rosie Morton. So it's worked out perfect. Tom Morton, I hope you're listening, Tom Morton, because we all listen to you when you do all your stuff for the radio. So
I must thank Tom because he featured it on his own programme a few weeks ago on a Friday. So that was really good. So Rosie Morton's Tom's son Magnus and my niece Katie are married, and they lovely little girl called Rosie. So this is hers. And we could get a boy called Charlie, but we haven't got him a tune yet. That'll come, Charlie.
Oh dear.
Tom's been out for his Sunday dinner today. He was all suited and booted, heading for the Hillswick Hotel for the Carvery. So
I saw a nice picture of him and Susan.
I thought he was going to a wedding or something with a look at him, but he's just going for Sunday dinner.
So that's the story of and then the next one's called Doogie's Dunny, and this was written by David Witherspoon, a pal of mine, for his dad. Oh, his dad spent his life down in his basement doing things we reckon he had a fridge in there. Doogie's Dunny. And then the last one is a real favourite of mine, and I had to put it in, written by, again, my pal Craig Turnbull, who writes some super tunes. And it's actually this tune's in Ryan Canning's book, Davey, which you might be aware of. And I can't remember the name of Ryan's book.
Which one? The first book or the second book?
I think it'll be the first one. What would that be?
The Full Monty.
I think. What was the second one called?
I'll tell you after this is finished.
Does it matter? Agony in Our Growth, I think, features in that. And it's a great tune. I step back with the Moothy and I let Marie take the lead. And it is
very quickly before we start, Alan Monroe says, does Kenny use Honor Highlander Moothy for Scottish tunes?
Oh, that's the one Donald Black invented. I do sometimes. Yes, it's a really good Moothy, but I don't play the tremolo, which Donald does. Right. I tend to play one with a chromatic with a button.
Okay.
It's a different single note, whereas Donny's is a full. And the Highlander is I tend not to play it much, but it's a very good instrument.
And
before we get into the next track, so that tune is in Ryan Canning's first book, The Full Monty, as I thought.
I think it's in, yeah.
No, it is. Yeah, it is. It's on page 14. Also, I've just got a message from Deirdre Morrison. Saying to say hi to you from her and Fred.
Oh! There you go.
I can't keep up.
So here we go.
I certainly couldn't match Fred's interview. That was the most.
It's like a Christmas dinner the night. Everybody kens everybody. We're doing well here.
I love Fred's stories. There was a few there that good ones.
I know. So here we go. Here's your reels.
a wee cheeky ending there. Cheeky ending. Yeah, brilliant. No, really good.
What
Very,
happened
very
there
good.
was
We're in there, I think.
what happened there was you thought I better actually end this with her. Just join in. There we go. Sorted.
I actually forgot the last tune. We just
I know this.
there's wee things like that. Will's added in some nice wee touches, you know.
Yeah,
really
no,
good.
it's cracking. It's cracking. You don't want it to be too much of the same thing. You know what I mean? You don't want to have pipes, or moothy. You want the dynamics and bring it in and out and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
And
that was a kind of idea. I just wanted to broaden the whole experience out a wee bit.
Well, exactly.
Well, there you go, folks. That's bringing us up nearly to the last track. Kenny, thank you so much for coming on. The best place, folks, to get Kenny's new album is to jump online and go to www.caberfaymusic.co.uk. Oh, I nearly said .covid.uk, but I don't know what you might buy there.
It's a very simple website. It's just been put on, and there's a big button that says buy.
Bye.
But also,
that's all you need.
If anybody wants to follow wee updates and things on Instagram, I think Instagram's Kenneth Mckenzie.
All right.
Instagram Kenneth Mckenzie and Twitter's @Kenny McKenzie. So I try and keep things and retweet things like your show. You know?
Yeah, it's brilliant. No, it's very much appreciated. You do it, and it really helps. It keeps it all going because at the end of the day, we're just doing this for the fun of it. We don't make anything out of it or nothing like that. So it's just good fun doing it, you know.
Great.
And it started away, and it's just built into something that's great, and it's good fun.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's a lovely show. Lovely.
And it's just kind of relaxed, and it's no heavy, and it's just something for a Sunday night.
Tonight, you know. Just I'm glad I'm at this side of the camera, Peter. You know.
Anyway, listen, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to finish off with this tune that I said I really would like you to finish off with. And I hope everybody stays on to listen to this one because it's is it Farewell to
Sunset and Sunup.
Sunset.
Sunset and Sunup. Yes.
Lovely tune.
It's absolutely phenomenal, written by Callum MacLean from Tobermory. But the other thing about this particular tune is there was beautiful words composed for it by Duncan McGilp of Tobermory, who I know.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah. Oh, he wrote, and he was a choir master in Mull, and also a mod medalist himself. Beautiful, a lovely fellow, and he died a few years ago, who I knew. And then there was Gaelic words translated by Professor Douglas Macmillan, who came from Kilcone in Ardnamurchan. So they were all friendly, and so it's a beautiful song as well, and sung a lot in Gaelic choirs. But I just love the melody. It's just stunning.
He's frozen. However, Kenny, it's been great having you on, and we'll finish off with this. All the best.
Thank you very much. I hope Peter thaws out.
It's me. Yep, so Peter has not came back to the show. So from myself and Peter and from all our guests tonight, it's been great having you. And we'll see you all next week. If I can click the right button. All the best.